morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
Well, I've been combing the hills and beating the bushes this week to find the kind of stuff that will keep you riding close, and I think we did a reasonable gather. Baxter Black reports on a young female veterinarian who showed up to treat a couple of horses that belonged to a very wealthy young couple who didn't know much about livestock.
She stepped around the door to be met by Whiskey, dragging the good doctor down the hallway by a Carhartt leg.
In the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight, let's say you just bought a load of orphan calves and somebody rustled them before you got them branded.
The brand inspector on the phone said brands would prove them as her own, but they were slick. If she had known.
Well, Phyllis Rathwell will tell you how they were found. And we try to keep it positive, but the Rangeland News has to be accurate.
Given the very low prices for cattle recently, that also suggests that producers might be holding some cattle back from marketing.
On the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training file, I'll offer some tips to make it much easier on your horse if you're working in the branding pen. And this week you'll hear from a great cowboy from Arkansas. His name is Rick Wheat.
When I drove into the town in Georgia, the big sign said, "Welcome All Girls Rodeo." Did not know what I was getting into.
And after I spent about 3 days hanging around him, Billy says I was starting to pick up his accent. Oh yes, and the Western Spirit Band will be featured with the soundtrack from a video we put together last week, and we do have a good couple of branding songs like this one today.
Wintertime is long on the mountain. Snow flies for 9 long months a year. When the warm south wind blows, every cowboy knows spring around up time is finally here. So call the boys at the Big A-double-L. Call Mike and Jeff and Jason and the crew. Come the break of dawn, we'll be saddled up and gone. 600 head for the day is through. 'Cause there's nothing like the Wasatch in the springtime. Nothing like the freedom in the air. And there ain't nothing better than dragging calves to the fire. And there's nothing like the smell of burning hair. Pass by like the wind, and the boys have loaded up and they're heading home. But come this time next year, you can bet they'll be right here until the cattle and the West are dead and gone. 'Cause there's nothing like the Wasatch in the springtime. Nothing like the freedom in the air. Nothing better than dragging calves to the fire. And there's nothing like the smell of burning hair. No, there's nothing like the smell of burning hair. Nothing like the Wasatch in the springtime.
Well, that brings back a lot of happy memories of early in the morning heading down the highway with a good horse in the trailer, going to a community branding or neighborhood branding somewhere. That's, of course, Brent Hill. Well, Rick Wheat is, he's been a cowboy, rodeo competitor, well-respected pickup man, and an inventor. I first met him in Vancouver, Washington, and he was doing a colt starting competition. I was doing the commentary, and after listening to him for a while, I knew he'd make a pretty interesting guest. Well, Rick, we've been having lots of fun here at the Trainers Challenge, and it sort of makes me think you must have a pretty interesting background in the whole world of horses. Where did it all start for you? Tell me a little bit about your early days.
Well, actually, my horses started when I was very young. My dad and mom owns a ranch down in Missouri. And my first cousin is Ralph Wheat. He's in the Cowboy Hall of Fame. He sat second in the world behind Jim Shoulders. Taught me a lot about riding horses. And it's been a great ride. I've had a good time. I've met a lot of good people. But the real interesting part is all the interesting people you meet. You know, that's a great thing. Isn't horse people great?
You know, we find that we're so blessed to be in this world of horses, cattle, and the people that go with them, because it's just such a peaceful place to be. Now, you had some background in rodeo yourself, I think. How did that go?
Yes, sir. I was a bareback rider and saddle bronc rider, and got pretty good at it, I guess. Done okay, made a living. And then I actually produced rodeos for a while. Made Producer of the Year in the NCRA, which is down in the southern part. That was in '93. Sold out, decided I would do this for a living, you know, basically. And so patented my product, and here I am.
I don't think it was quite that simple, because you could not get to where you can work that magic with these young colts without quite a big learning process, I would think.
Well, yes, sir, I have, Hugh. I run several barns. I worked on Buena Vista Ranch. And, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but if you don't ride a colt in every hour, you have a brand new area code, you know. They send you right on down the road. And so this is where I got a lot of my experience. I've run training barns. I've been basically all over the country working in different barns. And, you know, like they say with the cowboy hat, if that's what you wear, that's usually the only roof you ever have. I've worked on ranches in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, all around. I've used to make my living feedlots, driving cattle.
You know what people love to hear are any stories, anecdotes, vignettes you might have from those years that you can recall. You know, sometimes when fellas are sitting around waiting for a liner to come and pick up a load of steers or something, the stories come out. And they'll be saying, "Hey, Rick, do you remember the time that we were caught way out there in the cedars and that thunderstorm hit and our horses broke loose or something?" You got any favorite stories like that you can share with us?
Why, you bet I do.
And if you'd like to hear it, well, stay tuned. It's a pretty good one about what happened to Rick when the cow boss assigned him a horse that nobody wanted to ride. And then you'll hear the Western Spirit Band and our song about a horse kind of like that, when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. So, Rick Wheat had a story that I thought you might enjoy. You got any favorite stories like that you can share with us?
Why, you bet I do. I went to work for this one ranch, and this guy's really great. His name was Lester Clark. I hope he's still alive. I hope he listens to your show. Wonderful individual. And I went to work there that first day, and these guys all told me, they said, you know, you get to ride Booger. And I thought, well, you know, that'd be okay, you know, who knows? You know, the new guy always gets the worst horse. Big Dun Gilden stepped up on him, got my saddle on him, we all rode away. Everybody was kind of snickering and giggling. And rode old Booger about a quarter of a mile from the house, and this rascal come apart. I mean, he did come apart. The only thing I could do is hold on, just hope I could make it. He made a circle and ended up back at the barn. Nothing I could do about it. So Booger and I come to a great understanding there at the barn. I caught up with the rest of the guys, and we went ahead and gathered cattle that day, and I rode Booger all day. Mr. Lester Clark told me, he said, he's a trick horse, said you don't have to ride him. I said, I want to. So I ended up working on that ranch for most of the summer, and Booger and I become great friends, and along with Mr. Lester Clark, and he's a great individual. And all of those things like that, you know, it's not about the money, Hugh, as you well know. It's about the experiences and watching the sunsets and, you know, getting cold and getting warm again and, you know, getting wet and drying off in the sun.
There's riches in this way of life that we're blessed to live that you can't count economically, but they're sure there. And if you've never seen a bunch of cows going along a trail with the sun coming up in front of you and that dust rising off the trail and making streaks through there. Every calf with every cow drifting along, and that feel of your horse working just right, and you're right there in harmony. You know, I guess that's why we keep cowboying.
You know, the good Lord blessed us cowboys. He blessed us dearly. You know, we have the sunset, we have the sunrise, we have the warm wind in the summertime. You know, it's a great feeling. It's a great, great thing to be Christian and be a cowboy.
Well, we are going to bring back another one of Rick's really interesting stories, but that horse Booger kind of reminded me of another horse. And, I hope you've had a chance to see and hear some of the terrific homebound sessions that our pal Tom Cole has been producing for YouTube and Facebook. Now, Tom, besides being a wonderful singer and songwriter, is pretty much of a technical genius. And during this period of self-isolation and quarantine, it's been kind of hard to get together with my Western Spirit Band since little brother Jim is in Turner Valley. Uncle Mike Daggart is up in Cold Lake, Bo Hughes, super steel player, is in Salmon Arm, and Tom's in Fort St. John. But we did, and here's the way Tom set it all up on Homebound Concert number 3.
And right now we have a special guest today, extra special, and it's we're trying to get Hugh McLennan from Spirit of the West radio show online there. And are we connected there, Hugh?
Well, I can hear you. Actually, I could even hear you doing that song, Tom. And,
wonderful!
Man, I love that one. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I sure can. So and I know you're probably just setting up. Well, and I'm thinking you have a nice surprise for us today with the song there.
A few years ago, and when you buy a horse at an auction, not too long before you find out why somebody sold him.
Mm-hmm.
So with the help of a guy by the name of Jeff Dawson, this is kind of Blazer's song. If I can figure out how to open it up here. You ready?
Mm-hmm. You bet.
Okay,
Take it away.
Boys ready? Am I ready? Let's try it. I hear the trailer coming. It's coming up the road. I ain't got my horse caught, and I'm betting he won't load. This cowboy work is starting. It ain't much fun for me. 'Cause I gotta catch old Blazer, and that's what tortures me. I ran him in the horse corral and he bit me on the arm. I cried just like a baby as he looked around the farm. Those teeth marks, they're stinging, they're swelling up, you see. But I gotta catch old Blazer, and that's what tortures me. I grabbed my favorite lariat, ran him in the shed, threw my favorite hula hand, caught a 2-year-old